Hello. In the recent days, no, not days, even months and years even, I hear that American people afraid of bolshevism, afraid of socialism, afraid of, stuff like that. They're afraid of American socialists and think that they will raise the taxes. And in general, American people tend to believe in some fairy tales that isn't real absolutely, because they have nothing to do with reality, like whatsoever. All you know about Bolsheviks, all you know about USSR, all you know about murders of communism, pretty much it's reverse engineering in propaganda. It's like not reverse engineering, but it's like reverse propaganda. When 99% of all those people who you think was killed by communists, in reality either never was killed, was prosecuted, and after like sentenced to death with normal laws, sometimes falsely, of course. There can be no absolutely 100% correct people. All people make mistakes, or those people was killed by American invasions, American involvement, or like any war conflict, any like mass murder on the planet that happened during that period. One way or another, there is some kind of USA presence. For example, in China, as far as I know, because I didn't study this question that close, I guess. I didn't really study this question is very close, because I know only what I can get my hands on. But in American exceptionalism make people think that they know better than whoever, whatever. So as far as I know, in China, the situation goes like follows. It was like in Korea, it was like in Vietnam. America wanted to install the puppet government, the dictator in China, and of course throw the how to say it, make a coup in Vietnam, in Korea, to throw the communist government, because communism, it's a threat for capitalism in some shape or form, when in reality it's capitalism. Like it's how to say it, going back to capitalism, it's going backwards in history pretty much. That's what in general, in theory, mean that people want to like pursue capitalism. So USA wanted to install dictators in Korea, in China, in Vietnam, and they successfully did it in Vietnam and Korea, because first governments of Korea and South Korea and of Vietnam was absolutely 100% dictatorships. As soon as they needed to like change the course of the actions, or change the course of the economy in those countries, they create such conditions that everything is changed. I didn't stumble upon numbers, how many countries Russia, USSR was invaded, how many countries USSR invaded. As far as I know, once we was in Czechoslovakia and once we was in Afghanistan for the purpose of stopping the drugs, because Afghanistan in that time and still is the #1 supply of drugs, and USSR wanted to prevent this. Also there was terrorists, of course, Taliban, supported by American government, of course. Once again, so in these conditions you must understand that there is 2 countries, as far as I know, which USSR invaded. One was Czechoslovakia. It was not very good, yet it was done correctly in that period. And the second is Afghanistan, as far as I know, of course. Also, there was no real Holodomor. When you're talking about Holodomor, you're literally denying that you concentrate on one country and one country only. Like Ukraine is suffer from starvation during the periods of 1922-23, if I remember correctly. And when you concentrate only on Holodomor, you denying that all throughout the Volga region, even in Poland, which wasn't communist whatsoever in that moment, sorry, there was starvation during that period because there was bad weather. And during that period, in those conditions, after just 4 years after the World War I ended, in external invasions in USSR still going. Sometimes they just, like, you must understand the situation that Germany, Poland, Baltic countries, Japan, USA, England, even France, somebody else, I don't remember correctly who, either it was Osman or Turkey, from all the places they try to not only invade in Russia, because in Vladivostok during that period there was occupation, literal occupation by Japanese forces, and they was thrown out. I don't remember which year, but in that period, during that period. In such a conditions, after the devastating, absolutely devastating for whole Europe, World War I, you must understand that there was very harsh conditions and a bad weather. Not many crops are grown during that period of 2 years. If you don't grow enough crops during the previous year, therefore in the next year there will be simply not enough of the food that you can eat. And that's what happens during the period of 1922-1923. I don't remember correctly which year was more severe, but yet literally 40 or 90 million even was affected by this bad weather. I don't remember, is it was drought or cold or rain, something along those lines, and I don't remember correctly, but you can easily look for it in the internet, and this information you can find. So those people was affected by bad weather during the period where agricultural technologies wasn't so very good in the places where there is a bad weather and harsh winter. Volga region, it's pretty much normal Russian climate. It's very cold during the winter and normal conditions for growing any kind of food during the summer. And if even the spring was severe, therefore the hunger happens. And when you're talking about Holodomor, and Holodomor only, that Soviet regime, USSR, Bolsheviks wanted to kill millions of people for no apparent reason other they want them to fear. It's normal American mentality that everybody have to fear us, and therefore Bolsheviks do the same, and they make Russian people fear them. When in reality, Russian government during the period work as commissions or councils. The word Soviet means council. It means that everything was made, every decision that was made in councils. Even direct demands from working people, from the factories, from the agricultural sector. Direct letters was sent to Stalin because he was like number one in these councils, and actions was taken after the letters came to Stalin or whoever in the government. It doesn't matter, but people tend to write letters to one person, not only just whole party. It's like, dear Tavarish Stalin, dear Comrade Stalin, we want this, this, and this. That is why, and our working collective, our working council of working people, want you to take actions about that and that and that. If it's possible, if it goes in interest of all working people in country, then the government creates a council, just as any government works pretty much. But during that period it was like yesterday workers, sometimes scientists, etc., they create a council and make a decision. So to think that after absolutely devastating World War I, when people was like not only under the pressure from the ruling elite, from the Tsar and nobility and banks and employers, because there was factories where people work. After the huge pressure to working class, USSR was just like, I don't know, it's like end segregation in United States pretty much. But only in United States there was like 5 or 10% of oppressed people, plus of course women. When in USSR not only women get all the rights that men have had previously, but also like 55, sorry, something along the lines there of 90 or 95 in general percent of the people get rights, get to decide their future, get pretty much the straight up democracy, if you talking about that. They do not get decide government policies and state policies in general, but they all was listened, everything was taken in consideration, because people at the place, in the place on the battlefield, let's say in some agricultural sphere, on some factory, they know better what's going on and what can be done for improvement in the country. So when Bolsheviks came and took power from the pretty much no one, because Tsar was overthrown half year before the Bolsheviks arrived and make elections. In first elections, if I remember correctly, there was 3 parties, but only one of them was working in interest of working people. So, when you're talking about that Bolsheviks came and start to killing people, it's like my American mentality works like this. Bolsheviks came and they start to kill people. And that sounds absolutely 100% correct. Because I'm American in general, because during the period after World War II, we can accept Europe is America, Japan is America, South Korea is America, and pretty much all the Latin America is America. Because it's American mentality put on everybody. We want people to fear us. We want fear mongering the people. And therefore, Bolsheviks, when they came to power, they did absolutely the same things. And we, as Americans, accept it, because it sounds logical for us. It have nothing to do with reality. Not to say there was no repressions. There was repressions, but in some case absolutely unfair. Yet World War I only just ended. During the period there was not only occupation of Vladivostok, but occupations of some other cities. During the period of World War I was occupations, multiple occupations of different cities when white pro-Tsarist generals simply invade foreigners to come and took over something. And those people which was and United States sometimes, they came and they simply robbed the cities, they robbed the villages, and then just simply go away because they could not hold for too long in such conditions. Germany was devastated, France was very much affected by it, England was far away and also suffered a lot, and in general. So there was not only multiple occupations of multiple cities and territories even, but also there was people who was pro-Tsarist. It means that they wanted to get back pretty much to the point where people were 95% of population of Russia was serfs. Pretty much serfs. Yes, they was freed, yet nothing changed for 67 years, I guess. Yes, for 67 years nothing has changed, and therefore you see that there was like this kind of situation happens because people wanted not only the Tsar back, they wanted to bring back the serf conditions for working people, for general public, for like 95% of the people. And therefore they think that if they invite some foreign army that they will help to overthrow the Bolsheviks and get back to the Tsar regime. Therefore, not only in Russia was straight up traitors of the country, traitors of the 95% of the population, not only those people was in Russia, in USSR during that period, but also, of course, there was working foreign intelligence agents. It's like the country was devastated. To enter the country was entrance to the country was wide open, literally at every border and in every direction. And these people work against the benefit of mass, the benefit of all, let's say, in the country. And then after, you must understand that they create like you thinking that Bolsheviks came and destroyed many people. They killed them so they feared them. No one feared Stalin. No one feared the Communist Party or Bolsheviks party during this period. Not only that, but after the just when every foreign army was thrown out from the country rebuilt, not rebuilt, but built from the scratch, because pretty much everything was destroyed. Country build economy, build manufacture, build agricultural sector, agricultural industry, to the point where there was no starvation even during the World War II. It's like it even sounds ridiculous. It's, of course, for American population, it's like absolutely normal to make everybody fear you, and it's all about the fear in general. It's not that I'm protecting socialism or communism. I didn't say it in the beginning. That simply is untrue. Not true, sorry. That simply is not true. The point of my talk is talk about how American propaganda, how American government lie to you. And as far as it benefits you, as far as it fits your worldview, you're okay with that. Because, I don't know, you're pretty much brainwashed people, and it absolutely doesn't matter which side you will choose. Why do I even wanted to start this topic in the beginning? Like this Greta Thunberg situation is make people believe for some reason that there is no climate change, and they just make more sure. It's like propaganda working in many directions, in many different ways. You can be sure that socialism is on the way in America. To put in the positions of power people like Bernie Sanders, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, to propagate, to make Soros support anti-communist, anti-fascist groups, so you not only afraid of them, but you hate them. And this create cracks in society cracking in many different sectors in general. Like there is socialist, there is communist, there is real socialist, not only democratic socialist. There is like LGBT, a huge group of people. Inside of this group of people, it's like gender fluid, queer, gay, lesbian, etc. In this kind of groups is there is anti-fascist, Antifa, there is like people who are libertarians and many other stuff. From the other side, you can clearly see the movements that throw us back into like Stone Age. It's nationalism, it's straight up Nazism, it's fascism, it's isolation. How to say this? When you isolate yourself, isolationism. It's there's some another groups. There are racist groups. There are groups who straight up hate the people who are on welfare. Who it's racist groups, of course. There, it's many different directions that propaganda create for you. Also, don't forget about that. Some people believe there is climate change and it's like extreme, we're all gonna die. On the other side of the spectrum, there's people like, what? You're lying. There is no climate change at all. Climate changing constantly. You're all liars and you just came for straight up for our taxes. There is that. There is people who want to take away the guns. There is people who want to simply keep the guns to fight back those goddamn commies and government and socialists. There is many other sides of spectrum in propaganda. Many examples can be given for you, but in essence, even things like flat Earth, even things like reptiloids or Zone 51, it's like it's just straight up propaganda. It all was made up during some period in the history. Still, in America, many people believe in God and go into churches not only because they need to or want to be in collective, but also because they really believe in God. It's like literally the most of American population. So in such conditions, they create many different movements, different ideas, different kinds of propaganda that fits your personal direction of thinking, I guess. But in general, 99% of what you believe is simply not true, because you must understand that in the land of the free, you own what you own as long as you pay in the taxes. You rent everything in the United States. You rent your house, you rent your car, you rent your, I don't know, commodities of some kind. You just simply straight up have to pay the taxes. The system of taxes is system of rent. Somebody else owns the land, somebody else owns your right to move, somebody else owns everything. Also, there is huge misunderstanding of American economy and how it works. It doesn't work like free market at all. It's pretty much, I must say that all American citizens live on welfare. And this welfare is possible because of some paradigm that was given by the man who created the Boer War in South African Republic. He said that if we not going to feed our people, common people, working people, if we not going to rob somebody and feed our working people, then our working people will simply overthrow us. They will stand against us, against capitalistic system, against the oppressive class. And pretty much USA robbed the whole world and took over the world and feed American middle class. So American middle class is live like in conditions that simply, how to say, is not comparable with the war or wish to die. Like every life matters. In the same time, the American mentality, liberal mentality, is absolutely right for either side of the spectrum. Whether you straight up nationalist, Trump supporter, isolationist, I don't know how to say this word, how to pronounce. Or you straight up for isolation, or if you for globalism, you're like democratic, so-called socialist, or something along those lines of communism. I don't know. Either you're Republican or Democrat, you have pretty much the same tactics, the same strategy of conversation, the same arguments, and like those arguments in 99% of situations is made up, straight, false, or something along those lines. People could not believe that somewhere in the world there can be something else except American mentality. We want everyone to fear us, therefore everyone else want to fear them if they overthrow, and they will attack us because we attack everyone. It's like normal American mentality. Also, there is mentality that every life matters, but it works only for human, and this and this group of people is not human. Done. We solve the problem. Those are not humans and lives don't matter. Why? Because I said so. Because I choose to believe so. And every group of people, whether it's Republicans, whether it's Democrats or somebody else, it's a straight up American mentality that you can use in case of Great Britain, in case of Australia and New Zealand, although they live a little bit different because they were isolated. So you can understand this mentality about French people sometimes, but they more likely, they just, spineless. Spanish people is very, very, very lazy. Lazy not in the question of work, they are hardworking people, but the conditions, they make them make less efforts in general, and etc. But you could not accept this mentality on small countries like Netherlands, for example, yet there is their still liberal agenda is 100% brainwashed people. So when you're talking about that, I don't know, when you're trying to think about situation in different conditions, in different country with absolutely 180 degrees different mentality, it's absolutely vice versa. Anything that you think about USSR, 99% of what you know is lie, propaganda, disinformation. You know the basic things. Bolsheviks came to power, came to rule. There was Stalin, there was Lenin, and we fought them in Korea and Vietnam. All that connected in some shape or form with either West or American interest. That's all. I just found out, even when you're talking about, for example, countries like Poland, Poland was never pro-socialistic. Even I can tell you even more, Poland always was anti anti-socialistic. Always was. And Poland is the biggest country in that region, most influential country in this region. Yet they was under control of USSR. Yet they was in some kind of shape or form socialistic. Yes, yet they wasn't socialist country. Or like lapdog for USSR. No. And this mentality works for pretty much everything in United States. All you know, it's either lies or straight up propaganda. Right? It means that if you want to if you think about situation in USSR and compare this with situation in United States, let me remind you one thing. While in 1929 USSR have huge growth because USSR built economy and get prepared to war, which was inevitable during that period. Inevitable not because we want it, but because somebody in Europe will want this. And it happens to be that for some reason Hitler wanted war. Revenge was very in the blood of Germans during that period. So one way or another, England, United States, Japan, Germany, even the Germany, if it will not get Hitler, Britain, of course, Poland during that period wasn't Soviet, like so-called ally. Countries like Czechia, Czech Republic, or I don't know, maybe Baltic countries. Those wasn't like friends for communist USSR. And USSR understand that this kind of lifestyle, when you give rights to working people, when you really get people in charge in such conditions, this situation creates a big problem for ruling elite, ruling class. And ruling class was afraid of it, to lose control of situation. I don't know why World War II happens yet. It looks like after World War I, Germany was prohibited of developing military and military complex in general, and developing arms and create armed forces. Yet somehow some way, the country that happens to be in the middle of Europe, surrounded by Poland, by Belgium, Netherlands, Italy, Switzerland, France, and Great Britain, and Denmark, like country in the middle of the Europe that was prohibited to develop armory, to create armed forces, somehow some way during the period since 1930s start to build a military machine, and no one mentioned it, and no one stopped them, and no one prohibited, and literally helped. I don't know whether it's conspiracy or not, that's not for me to decide, but it's at least sounds suspicious in society that hated USSR and communist. Like Nothing suspicious, right? So all this rant is not about socialism was good and communism are the way to go. I don't believe that socialism possible for the moment. There is some conditions for it, and I have a thought and I think it. Socialism is impossible. As for communism as end stage of socialism, for me it's just fairy tale. Yet I will try to defend everything about lies about my country. And when you're trying to apply that, if you disagree with me, with America, if American apply logics like you all they're brainwashed communists and goddamn red menace in Russia, I need to remind you that de-Stalinization started right after the Stalin's death in 1953. Right from the beginning, Stalin ruling was condemned by his so-called fellows by Bolshevist party. It means that even before the 1953, there was some elements who hated communism, because communists prohibited them from owning pretty much serfs. That's pretty much is what socialism is, to abolish the serfs. In United States I can say that you're slaves, and I can support my thoughts with real facts. As I said, in United States you own your stuff, you own your home or car, for example, or something along those lines, as long as you pay in the taxes. And in case of the house or apartment, you own it as long as you pay in the bills. In the moment where something is happening in your life, and we all not perfect and we all not ideal, we can get sick, we can get thrown out of job because our employer just simply wants to, and he have all the rights to do so. In the moment that something happens in your life, you thrown out of life. You lost your house, you lost your car, you lost everything you own, you lost all your savings, etc., etc., etc. It means that, in essence, you own shit in your life. In socialism, pretty much the same mechanism works. As long as you work for society, as long as you make something in society, you are valuable person. You have all the rights to step up, to step up. You have all the rights to get sick. You have all the rights to be uneducated. Yet, government will still provide you with education for free because it's benefit the overall economy of the country. They will provide you with a healthcare because it once again benefit all economy of the country. If something bad happens to you, you don't have to pay like hundreds of thousands of dollars of your own to get medical attention or some surgery that you required. And of course you will be provided with a shelter, no matter what. Yes, it may be a lousy corner, like let's say in some apartment, lousy corner in some apartment. Maybe it will be not the perfect conditions yet. You can't be thrown out of there just because government wants to. You will be not thrown out on the street. Even if you lost your job, you will be forced to have a job once again. Even if this job do not requires huge skills and do not contain a big salary in it. Socialistic government provided you with job, provided you with healthcare, and provided you with education. It's a three basic pillars of prosperous society. If your people well educated, if your people are have job and produce stuff that you can sell, if your people are healthy and therefore they don't need to be paid money for they out of work, or they don't get badly ill and could not do the work and have to be on welfare. If people are educated, have a job, and had a good health, overall it's benefits economy of the country. What we see in United States, education at every level is parents have to pay for it one way or another. If you, grown-up man like 18 years old, want to get a degree, you have to pay for that, and you don't have the money, and therefore you will pay for that. You will take a loan and get like in debt slavery till the end of your life, because once you get out of the college or university, you need to buy your own house. It's also 25 or 30 years debt slavery. You need to buy a car. It's mandatory in United States, because public transportation is just not included in equation, because you need to buy more cars, more supplies for cars, etc., etc. Give me a moment, please. And I'm back. So we see that in United States, government doesn't care whether you're healthy, whether you're good educated, and whether you have a job. They doesn't care. All they care about is you have to pay the taxes, and that's pretty much how capitalism in general works. Government doesn't care how you will get your money. Will you be healthy? And will you be well trained? They doesn't care. You're born and you have to take loans, because it's blood of economy of current capitalistic system. You have to pay. You have to take loans and pay taxes. It's double. It's double slavery. Yes, from the side, it's like you have your freedom of speech, but in exchange you simply debt slaves. It might looks like you're free. In reality, you are not. If something happens in your life and you need, if you need protection by the law, you have to pay the special trained people, so they protect you. You're guilty as long as you will prove that you're not guilty, pretty much. And if your opponent have more money and can hire better lawyer or even law firm who can apply tactics that have absolutely nothing to do with justice, but only with pressure, only with some kind of how it's said, not push, to affect a jury, for example, or in some case, in some way, to affect the, how to say it, the judge. Why you have jury system? Think about it. It's easier to not bribe the judge. You don't need to bribe the judge. All you need to is apply some tactics at jury, and jury will decide in your favor, because people are always indoctrinated and always are under brainwashing. Even the choose, even how you choose your juries is about who can I affect, who can I push on hard enough to so they make decision in my advantage. Your justice system have nothing to do with justice at all. It's just law enforcement in broader scheme of things. So I'm not talking about socialism is good. It's better. It's better system for working people, for common people. As long as United States of America is oppressing other countries or have the currency that's supported by, that is, how it's said, reserve currency of the world, as long as American government can make refunds, create conditions that when you can spend more money and spend it on stuff you absolutely don't need pretty much all the time. As long as you as working people get the benefits from United States controlling of the world, it means that United States rob all the world and give it to the working people of United States. You will not see this. But the system have the flaw. The system have a problem that is unsolvable. Why the crisis happens like every 25 years or so. That what is the problem. It's not that we need socialism because we want everyone to be equal and give money to lazy idiots or morons, as you think it is. You are lazy idiots and morons because United States government giving you the money, sponsor you and support you, and all resources that they get in other countries of the world, they put in American economy, so you consume them and create profit for rich people. As long as you benefit from the system, you will not be rebel against it. But now, what we see is propaganda pushing people to be separated from each other. The egoism ideology means that I am right and everybody else is wrong, and therefore you will not be in the bigger groups, in like tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands. You will not bunch up together in such a groups, even though 100,000 people is pretty much a good target for a better target than a small group of 10 or let's say 5 or 6 people. It's much more easier to kill them. They want you to hate each other. That's the point. They want you to hate each other. They want you to hate Jews, communists, Nazis. They want you to hate fascist, anti-fascist. They want you to hate Muslims. They want you to hate everybody, no matter who you will hate. Just don't look at us. It's not us. It's not rich people. No, it's not us. Yeah, we accumulate more wealth than, I don't know, any kind of people in the history of mankind. Yeah, we gain profits like in billions and trillions of dollars. But no. Don't look at us. It's not us. It's not our fault. No. It's somebody else. Communists, Nazis, Muslims, I don't know, Europeans, Chinese, whatever. It's them. It's not us. It's childish mentality. And this mentality is very good applied to everybody in the United States. From the simple hobo to the top of the elite. In such conditions, what people behind Trump, let's say, doing, it's they trying to save American economy and get dry from the rain, let's say. So nothing can affect them. So nothing will be bad for them in such situation. That's what they want. How it will benefit you? No, there is no benefits for you. You could not support the same style, the same standard of living that you have in previous 20 years or 30 years. You could not save economy of your country, like whatsoever. It's impossible because current system is unsustainable. What they're trying to recreate is simply restart the system with much more smaller control of United States. And there is a problem. Why you have right now a big push for mass immigration? Because you need to create conditions when more and more people will get salaries lower and lower. They even can create conditions where dollar become worthless, and they will repay all the debts, and you will repay all the debts, of course, and can restart the system. But in such conditions, dollar will become worthless. There is nothing to support dollar value right now. Absolutely nothing, but only promises. Everybody get used to that America is #1 economy and they like reserve currency, and therefore we can trust the dollar because it always was like that, and it always will be like that. Because we know nothing except this mentality, except this kind of world view. United States always was #1 economy, which is not, and always will be, of course, which is of course not. It's impossible. What they do is trying to save economy, and I will tell you a very stupid thing. Or not stupid, but the thing that you will not even believe in right now. I would say that if they impeach Trump and if they will get people who behind Trump, standing behind the Trump, from control of economical changes, it will be bad for American economy. It will be bad for United States in general. Yeah, I might sound like socialist, communist, I might sound like idiot who brainwashed. I don't know why even you think that. Well, I know why, because you indoctrinated people, but in general, what Trump do is benefit for, not Trump, what people behind Trump do, I will point out this constantly, because Trump on its own have absolutely no power, no economical knowledge, no political knowledge, he knows shit, he just simply like Zelensky, he's simply an actor. He get his role, and he played. What people behind the Trump do, politics, economists, and bankers, and financial people, what they do right now is trying to save American economy, which is absolutely 100% unsustainable. Absolutely unsustainable. And what they want to do is create conditions where there'll be no war. Civil war is accepted. World war is not acceptable. That's dogma for current people. But they have no mechanisms. All the mechanisms, another stupid thing, all the mechanism that can be invented happens to be in Russia right now. Because only Russian education system still have knowledge how people works outside the current capitalistic system. It looks like that. I can't be sure of it, of course, yet. If Trump will be impeached, the probability of the war, the world war, the civil unrest will be even higher if Trump will stay in the power. Trump will stay the POTUS. And if we have the question like this, it means that it's a dead end. It's a simply this capitalistic, this economical system, this political system, which is worldwide, political and economical system, is in fucking hell. It's like, it's a mess. It's a dead end. I don't know how to describe it. It's a total disaster. And it's America who lead us to this. It's American propaganda machine. It's American elite. What I start from? I started pretty much 99% of what you know about Bolsheviks. It's a lie, or straight up disinformation, or made up numbers. Pretty much the same can be applied to everything. Capitalistic system of the world. The part that China play in this situation, the part that Europe play in this situation, the part that Russia play in this situation, etc., etc., etc. It's all either lie, propaganda, or disinformation. And in general, you know shit about how world economy works, what is socialism in theory, what is capitalism in theory, what is capitalism that we have right now, how the system works, how you get your money, etc., etc., etc. Because people, common people, can't think like outside their box. All they interested in, it's like wake up, go to job, and came in the evening, eat, and in the next morning go to job, and when the holidays, weekend, get rest from the job, from the work, because they get tired. go to vacation once in a year, and pretty much that's it. Simple people can't think outside the box. And American mentality in general, American mentality, which is applied to many countries in the world. But American mentality, even in Russia, the same mentality right now is very much growing. American mentality is mean that I know better than you, and you can simply fuck off. That's it. It's great. It's great for elite. It's great for ruling people. It's great for rich people. You can't think outside of the box because your box already made it. Because your box is already constant. Nothing can change inside of it. You can't change your worldview. You can't change your opinion. You will be as a robot, simply doing the same things over and over and over again. And it's a good thing for ruling elite. And it's a good thing for people who are in charge. And of course, it's absolutely artificial. It's not how people, well, yes, it's how people work in reality. After all, look at slavery, look at Russian serfs, look at people who still believe in God or in aliens or something along those lines. People tend to believe in something that they already believe, and they simply can't change their opinion, like whatever. So in essence, what they're trying to do right now is create as many groups as they can. You already can't walk out from your box. You already are limited in the area that you live in. You already are thrown into this paradigm that everything like this and will be like this forever. So in essence, what you have right now in United States is they trying to create these civil war conditions. It's of course liberal elite, and the other side of elite want to create a process that will be as peaceful as possible to transfer to next stage. Next stage, not even next stage, but the next type of capitalistic economy. Simply restart the system, pretty much. Both of them want to, like liberal elite want to system go on forever like this and pile up the debt infinitely, which is impossible, of course. Other side want to simply just wipe up the all debts, write it off of the balance sheets and start it all over. Pretty much that's all we have. That's all we have, absolutely, because the capitalism itself could not grow anymore, could not go on anywhere from here. That's what the problem, in essence. So I don't know. That's what I wanted to talk about, pretty much. That all you believe in is a lie. And sadly, this will not change. Well, thank you. Goodbye.